Are you ready for New York Knicks basketball to be back? If you are, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon right now. Can the New York Knicks be a top 3 seed in the Eastern Conference in the upcoming NBA season? We're going to unpack that idea in today's show. You're watching Knicks Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green. We're going to do a deep dive into why I believe the Knicks can become one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. We'll go through the offseason additions and losses for the New York Knicks. And then I've got 5 major reasons as to why I believe the Knicks can go from the 5th seed last year to a top 3 seed this year. Let's start with the offseason moves that went down for the Knicks. They did not have a pick in the first round of the NBA draft. They did not have a pick in the second round of the NBA draft. They signed Jalen Martin as a UDFA. They also signed Jacob Toppin. So they made a couple of moves to add to the roster in that case. But the 2 main moves of the offseason was Obi Toppin out heading to Indiana, and then Dante DiVincenzo, the big ragu, heading to the Big Apple. When you talk about these 2 players and you compare what they do on the floor, they're definitely different types of players. They possess different skills, and they have different archetypes to their game. Last year for the Dubs, DiVincenzo averaged 9.4 points per game, 4.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists, 43.5% from the field, and 39.7% from downtown. That's going to be a big jump from where Obi Toppin was, because DiVincenzo is pretty much going to take Obi Toppin's minutes and then get some more minutes, and Josh Hart will act as that backup 4 behind Julius Randle, RJ Barrett, getting some of those minutes as well. But think about it like this. What did the Knicks ask Obi Toppin to do? Get out in the fast break, catch and shoot and knock down threes, and play defense. Dante DiVincenzo literally is better at all 3 of those topics than Obi Toppin. Another reason that I believe the Knicks are going to continue to get better is when you talk about this Knicks roster and you look at the current age or the average age in rotation among second-round playoff teams this past season. Of all the teams that made the playoffs this past year, the Knicks were the youngest team in the NBA playoffs. The average age for the Nuggets, 27.5. The Boston Celtics, 28. 76ers just under 28. The Suns almost 29. The New York Knicks' average age of players in the rotation were 25.2. They also made it to the second round of the playoffs, which I'm not exactly thrilled about, but it was definitely a step in the right direction. When you make the second round, you go 6 games against the Miami Heat, a team that was better than you, and you're returning players with an average age of 25. Running it back is not the worst thing in the world. When you look in the roster in totality, I'm expecting the starting lineup to not change. Jalen Brunson is going to be your point guard. I got Quentin Grimes still locked in at that 2 guard. RJ Barrett is your wing. Julius at the 4. Mitchell Robinson at the 5. You got Quickly backing up Brunson. You got DiVincenzo backing up Grimes. You got Josh Hart playing a little bit of this and playing a little bit of that by backing up RJ Barrett and Julius Randle. And you got Isaiah Hartenstein and Jericho Sims backing up the blockness monster in Mitchell Robinson. For the Knicks, though, to get inside that top 3 seeds in the East, they're either going to have to be better than some teams are, or they're going to need some teams that were on top of them this past year to take some steps back. I believe the Bucks are still the best team in the Eastern Conference. I think they're still going to be the number 1 seed. I'm a little bit hesitant on making a statement on the Boston Celtics. I don't know if their roster is finished at this point, but I will say losing Marcus Smart and Malcolm Brogdon potentially having a very serious injury follow him to the season. They lost some pretty good wing defenders as well, and they replaced that with Kristaps Porzingis. I still think they're a point guard away from getting to the NBA Finals, so I'll put the Boston Celtics at the 2 or 3 spot. But I believe the Sixers are going to take a step back. Whether they bring Harden back or not, I just think that they are a team that is destined to take a step back. I believe the Cavs will be about the same, maybe a little step forward or a little step back. I truly believe, though, the Knicks could really get above 50 wins this upcoming year. Vegas thinks the Knicks are only going to win 43.5 games, or at least that's the total that they have right now that you can bet on. So I want to ask you, put on your betting sunglasses, and if you were at the casino, what would you lay money on? 43.5 wins for the Knicks this upcoming year. Do you think they're going to win more games? Do you think they're going to win less games? Type O for over, type U for under. This will be the pinned comment on today's video. So when you get hit with that YouTube ad break, let me know. Over, under 43.5 wins. All right, let's get into my 5 reasons why I believe the Knicks can be a top 3 seed. The first thing that comes to mind for me is the post-All-Star break success that the New York Knicks had. Really the post-trade deadline success that the New York Knicks had. When they made the trade, when the Knicks and Leon Rose made the trade for Josh Hart, they became one of the best teams in the National Basketball Association. Their record after the trade deadline, after that Josh Hart move, was 17-9. That was the 5th best winning percentage in the NBA. And if you were to stretch that out over 82 games, they would be on pace to win 54 ball games, which would have made them a top 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. The Knicks won 47 games this past year. Great season, no doubt about it. But Julius Randle missed the last 5 games of the year. Jalen Brunson missed the last 3 games of the year. So they were on the deck of winning 50 games this past year. And I believe they're going to be better. They're bringing back pretty much the same team. They have continuity. They added Dante DiVincenzo, who I think is going to play a bigger role and be a bigger piece in winning than what Obi Toppin was. And hopefully, your best 2 players don't miss 3 out of the last 5 ball games going into the postseason. Reason number 2 I have is Jalen Brunson is just getting started here in Madison Square Garden. He is only going to get better and better. The guy is 26 years old. He has not reached his peak. I truly believe that we have not seen the best basketball from number 11. When you talk about Jalen Brunson, he was a stabilizing piece for this organization, but he also took them to a new height like a superstar would. The Knicks won less than 40 games in 2021 and 2022. They added at least 10 games to their win total, and he was a masterful performer for the Knicks in the regular season. Played in 68 games, 35 minutes per night, and he's giving you 24 points, 6+ assists, 3.5 rebounds, and he was one of the most efficient scoring guards in the NBA, shooting 49% from 3 and almost 42% from downtown. But we also saw him take his game from really good in the regular season to one of the best players in the NBA in the playoffs. The 3-point percentage wasn't all that great in the playoffs for Jalen Brunson. He kind of struggled in some games, like in Game 1 against the Heat, he was 0 for 7. In Game 3 against the Heat, he was 0 for 5. Game 3 against the Cleveland Cavaliers, he was 0 for 4. But in totality, the guy averaged 28, 5, and 7 in the playoffs. And against the Miami Heat, one of the best defenses in the NBA, one of the best coached teams in the NBA, the guy gave you 31 points per night, 6 assists, 5.5 rebounds, and shot 50% from the deck and 34% from deep. But what I love is how Jalen Brunson finished the regular season. We saw him take his game to literally a Steph Curry type of level, and I don't think that is a hyperbolic statement. When you talk about the ability to be one of the best 3-point shooters in the league, that's what Jalen Brunson was. In those final 34 regular season games, the guy averaged 5.3 threes per night, and he knocked it down at a 45.6% clip. That is Steph Curry shit right there. 27.8 points per game in those final 34 games. So who's to say that Jalen Brunson can't do this next year? I do worry a little bit that 3-point percentage is going to fall off just because how realistic is it for him to knock down 46% of his threes in the final 34 games? Another big piece as to why I believe the New York Knicks will be a top 3 seed. I think they have one of the best benches in the NBA, and I think they are one of the most deep teams in the NBA. When you go through every single position on this roster, besides the power forward spot, the Knicks have a quality reserve and a quality backup at that position. Jalen Brunson, he's got Emmanuel Quickley right behind him. Quentin Grimes, he's got Dante DiVincenzo right behind him. RJ Barrett, he's got Josh Hart right behind him. And we saw the impact Hart had for the Knicks after being traded from Portland to New York. Julius Randle, all-NBA player. They don't have a key backup power forward right now. We know Tom Thibodeau wants to run that 9-man rotation. But I believe the Knicks are going to be more forward-thinking with their approach this year, play a little small ball, and Josh Hart and R.J. Barrett are going to be your backup 4. And you got 2 quality centers in Isaiah Hartenstein and Jericho Sims. And Sims was a guy that started games last year when Mitchell Robinson got hurt. But the key piece as to why I believe the Knicks have one of the best benches in the league, it's because of Emmanuel Quickley, the real 6th man of the year. Shout out to Malcolm Brogdon stealing that award from him. Unbelievable. That was a joke. This year for Quickley was really his coming out party in the NBA. Played in 81 games. I know that his performance and his productivity fell off in the playoffs, but man, he was a key piece for this team. 15 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and the most efficient season of his young NBA career. One of the big parts about Quickley's game is he's not just a sixth man. When he goes into the starting lineup, he's going to give you starter production, almost all-star production in that starting role. 23 points per night, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, 47% from the field, and 40% from downtown. But it wasn't just when he started. It was literally the final 51 regular season games for New York that Immanuel Quickley became one of the best young guards in the NBA. 18 points per night, 4.2 rebounds, 3.7 assists, and 47.2% from the field, and then a white-hot 39.6% from downtown. He is a special, special player. He's one of the best offensive players on this team, but he's also one of the most underrated defenders in the NBA. I don't like to dive into the deep analytics and do the whole nerding out thing, but I think this chart really illustrates the type of defender that Immanuel Quickley is. When you look at the Knicks' defensive rating, when Immanuel Quickley is on the floor compared to off the floor, the Knicks are 12 points better in their defensive rating when he is on the floor. That's better than Draymond Green. That's better than Brook Lopez. That's better than Anthony Davis. That's better than Alex Caruso. That's better than Jokic, Aaron Gordon, Drew Holiday. Immanuel Quickley not only is a walking bucket and the biggest nightmare for every Boston Celtic fan out there after he danced around in TD Garden when he gave you a 40-piece nugget with no Jalen Brunson in overtime and got the dub, he's also one of the best on the perimeter when it comes to playing defense. I also believe Quentin Grimes is going to take a big step this year. It feels like year 3, Quentin Grimes' feet have been wet in the NBA. The jumper continues to get wetter and wetter. The jump that he made from year 1 to year 2 was just about, I thought his feel was better. I thought his confidence was better. I thought he matured as a player and his defensive skills really took a steps. In all, the guy gave you 11 points per game, couple of rebounds, couple of assists, good efficiency from the floor, but he became a knockdown shooter for the Knicks from 3, almost 39% from 3. Anytime you're close to 40, that's an elite number. The thing I want to see from Quentin Grimes, though, is more. I want more plays drawn up for Grimes. I want him to be a bigger focal point of this offense. I want Tom Thibodeau to draw up a play for the guy. Because when you think about Grimes, when he gets minutes, when he gets touches, when he gets looks, he produces. There was 25 games this year for the New York Knicks where Grimes had at least 10 field goals in a night. And in those 25 games, the guy averaged 17.8 points per game. He got up 8.5 threes per night, and he knocked it down at a 41%. That is elite. That is elite. I'm not asking for 12, 13, 14, 15 shots a night for Grimes. Can I get 10? Can I get 11? The guy's going to produce if he does. But he's not just a three-point specialist. He's also one of the most underrated defensive players in the NBA. Another one of these nerd stats for you. We got a little chart, a little y-axis, x-axis going on right here. So DPM, the higher you up on this chart, the better the defender you are. But the further you go to the right, that's the more difficult matchup you drew every night, which this graph tells me that Quentin Grimes had the most difficult defensive matchup every single night, and he was still a really good defender. He takes the responsibility of guarding the opposing team's best offensive threat every night. I truly believe he could take a Desmond Bane type of leap where he is a knockdown three-point shooter, a little assist to his game. We've seen him out in the fast break, but he's only going to get better and better as a defender. The last point that I have, can RJ Barrett keep the playoff success going? We know that RJ Barrett had some really good games in the playoffs. He was not good in game 1 or game 2 against the Cleveland Cavaliers. He struggled, I believe, and it was game 3 or game 4 against Miami. He was bad in 2 games in each series. But overall, I thought in the regular season, he was a little bit disappointing. The three-point percentage went down. I thought the defense went down. I just thought the little things escaped RJ Barrett a little bit. Still got his 20 points per night. He upped his field goal percentage, one of the best of his career, 43.4 points per game, 31% from downtown. And in the playoffs, he took that game to another level. What I liked, what I saw from RJ Barrett was he was more decisive. He got downhill. He put pressure on the rim. I mean, there was an 8-game stretch in the playoffs. If you take out game 1 and game 2 against Cleveland and you take out game 6 against Miami, the 8 games in between that, Barrett averaged 22.5 points per game, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 49% from the deck, and 38% from downtown on 6.3 attempts per night. That's the type of RJ Barrett we know and love and we want him to be. But man, when you talk about the regular season, I know we keep going back. Playoffs, regular season, playoffs, regular season. I can only go off of what I have at my disposal. RJ Barrett has to become a better intangible player. You can't shoot 32.3% on catch and shoot threes. You can't shoot 19.6% on pull-up threes. You have to get better in the paint. 53.2% on shots less than 10 feet from the basket. And you have to get back to being a willing defender, someone that is just a disruptor on that end. Because when you add up deflections and steals per game and it's not even 2 per night, that's a problem. RJ Barrett, you're my guy. I banged the table for you not to be involved in a Donovan Mitchell trade, but you took a step back this year. I can only judge off of what you gave me this year. I was disappointed by the regular season. I was encouraged by the playoffs. And if you can keep that playoff run going, the Knicks could be one of the best teams in the NBA. So a quick recap. The 5 reasons I believe the Knicks could be a top 3 seed. The post-All-Star break success, one of the best teams in the NBA. Jalen Brunson's just getting cooking. The depth on this team is special, which also could mean a trade could be coming and they won't lose much. I believe Quentin Grimes could be a most improved player candidate this year. And if RJ can keep the success going that he had in that playoff run, this team can be special. My overall prediction, the Knicks are going to win 50-plus games, and they are going to be a top 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. I truly believe that. They won 47 games last year. Those young players are going to get better. Quickly, the Knicks are young. We showed you the average age of the rotational player for the Knicks, the lowest of all playoff teams. 50-plus games, top 3 seed. That's my prediction for the Knicks. As always, I just want to say thank you, and I appreciate you guys for rocking and rolling with us here on New York Knicks Now by Chat Sports. If you made it this far in the video, that means you're a real one. So make sure you're freaking subscribed to the channel. Go down right now, hit that big red button, and help us get to 30,000 subs.